Welcome back to the FTN Team Preview Series, where we go around the NFL, all 32 teams, and get a little snippet, a little preview of the 2024 NFL season. I'm your host, Mike Randle. Follow me on X at Randle Rant. And today we have an expert for the Jets, JETS, Antwan Staley on X at Antwan Staley, Jets beat writer and columnist for the New York Daily News, 13-year NFL reporter. He is the perfect person to give us a deep dive into one of the teams that really hopes to make a big mark on this season. Antwan, we're going to kick it off. Breece Hall. Fantasy drafters love Breece Hall right now. He had a great end to last year. They are drafting him around Bijan Robinson right after Christian McCaffrey. Talk about this Jets backfield, what you see coming for Breece Hall, and the touch share behind him, because I have to tell you, we have high hopes for Breece Hall in 2024.
I think he'll have a really big year. I think you started to see him really turn it on late last year, as you alluded to. But yeah, I think, if you're talking from a fantasy perspective, I think, you got him and Christian McCaffrey, I think, expect to have really big years. I mean, yeah, the Jets drafted 2 running backs on day 3 of the draft, and Allen and also Isaiah Davis. But I think they'll get, spot carries, but I still think Breece Hall will get majority of the carries. And also, he's a weapon out of the backfield too as well.
And I do think Israel Abanikanda is going to have maybe a bigger role than people realize. He came in last year. There were some other people in front of him, back and forth. Could he be the second option, the clear second option, even though, like you said, the Jets added some running backs via the draft?
I wouldn't say clear, because I think he's going to be fighting for a roster spot, to be honest with you, especially with them taking 2 running backs in the draft there. So, yeah, I mean, he could be the second option there, but he's going to have to compete with the other guys that they drafted too as well.
All right, and what are you hearing about Aaron Rodgers here before we get into passing game? Looks like he's going to be ready to go. And again, his presence, MVP, future Hall of Famer, really changes the schematic here. What are you hearing? Is it all systems go for week 1? I believe it is. Tell me what you're hearing here.
Well, we were at OTAs last week, and he looked good. He looked like a guy that wasn't even coming off of the injury. I mean, he only missed 2 incomplete passes during 11-11 drills, and then was a perfect 5 for 5 on 7 on 7. So work, and then he was just moving fluidly. I don't know if he'll be as mobile as he once was, obviously considering the age and the injury. But as far as him throwing the football, I think everybody's going to be in good shape. I think he's going to do a fantastic job there.
Now, the receivers, Garrett Wilson seems to me to be sort of a breakout player. Not that he hasn't been fantastic so far, but I think he could take a real step forward here. Talk about the target share order. Mike Williams, of course, has joined the team here. Still some players remaining from last year. Added Corey as well. Talk about Garrett Wilson, your expectations, and then the target share behind Wilson in the wide receiver position.
Well, I think Garrett will be one of the beneficiaries of having Aaron Rodgers back there. I mean, obviously, you have a future Hall of Famer in Aaron, and he's had some big time receivers there. And I think Garrett is among them in that group too. And you look at the numbers that Garrett put up, even with poor quarterback play the last 2 years. Just imagine if he had consistent quarterback play from a future Hall of Famer. Like, I think he's definitely looking at anywhere from like 110, 115 catches, I really believe there. And I would say close to 10 touchdowns. Like, I think that's probably the mark that you want to look at. And then what's behind him, you alluded Mike Williams there. He's still, be iffy for week 1. I mean, remember he tore his ACL last year, so he's not, 100% as of yet. So I don't really think he's going to start training camp on time. So that's something to keep in mind there. They picked up Malachi Corley, who I think will definitely pick up a big role there. Probably be more their second option until Mike Williams gets ready. And then, you have Alan Lazard there too. I think people expected big things from him last year. He really disappointed, did not do well with Zach Wilson and some of the other quarterbacks that the Jets had. But with Aaron back and the chemistry that they have, he could, potentially have a much better season.
Are we sleeping on Tyler Conklin? 3 straight years here with frustrating quarterback play, 87 targets. Aaron Rodgers with tight ends sometimes uses them, has had big years with Jermichael Finley, somebody like that. Conklin, I still think, can be a really productive tight end. And since he's been able to be targeted 87 times 3 years in a row, could he take a step forward, or do you see the tight end position sort of remaining the way it's always been here with Rodgers, which is sort of inconsistent?
No, I think you'll definitely see Conklin continue to play well. I thought he played well last year too, considering the circumstances as well. He just didn't have a recorded touchdown pass, but I thought he was a guy that they relied on to move the chains there on second and third down situations. And I expect Aaron to probably do something similar too as well. So you could definitely see him potentially have 65, 70 catches there in a season. And I think for him, I think that would be a really tremendous year, and definitely could be a red zone option too as well, especially within the 5 yard line.
Antwan, great stuff as always. Last question, then we'll get you out of here. I did a big breakdown on the strength of schedule. First 5 weeks, to me, the Jets have the easiest schedule in terms of opponents. Maybe not the schedule and the distance between the games, time between the games, but their schedule. Their week 1 matchup at San Francisco, of course, very tough. However, 4 subsequent games, Titans, Patriots, Broncos, and Vikings. That's 4 straight games, 2 at home against teams who have a projected Vegas win total of only 6.5 games or less. Jets are looking to get off to a 4-1 start, only 7th time in franchise history. Talk about the early schedule and schedule as a whole. I think it's reasonable, although it does get tougher as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think it's important for them to get off to a good start. Obviously, even if they lose the San Francisco game, which if I had to pick right now, I probably would say they would. But even if they lose that game, and they're still in good shape too, because obviously that San Francisco is an NFC opponent, so it doesn't necessarily break you with tiebreakers and things of that nature too. Yeah, I think you kind of alluded to it there. Schedule gets really easy, although it's going to be tough considering they're playing 3 games in less than
Yes.
3 weeks. So
Mhm.
that's going to be a brutal stretch for them to start the year. You have to get off to a good start, especially considering this team has not made the playoffs since 2010. They're looking to do that for the first time since that mark, and a lot of people are under pressure right now. Head coach, general manager, even Aaron Rodgers is under pressure. He's also feeling it too. So yeah, I think you have to get off to a good start, because I think the last 7 opponents either made the playoffs last year or they finished over 500. So yeah, it's gonna get substantially tougher in those last 2 months.
Folks, your home makes it easier for us. Here's Antwan Staley on X at Antwan Staley, Jets beat writer, columnist for the New York Daily News. Thank you so much for a few minutes, Antwan. We love the Jets. I'm a tri-state area guy. Big team here, big expectations. Appreciate you taking a few minutes. Love to catch up later in the summer as we get closer to kickoff here in week 1.
All right, thank you.